Hey everybody, Void here with the next part of the VGen tutorial for artists series. Today is part 5, commission details. So first, to get to your artist dashboard from the homepage of VGen, you're going to want to click this white button here that says Artist Dashboard. That's going to take you to the main page of your artist dashboard, which has your commission information. However, first we're going to go over to the Quests tab. In the last video, we went over the Personalize Your Profile quests. If you haven't done that, please go back and check that video. And today we're going to be going over services, which are under the Commission Grand Opening. I recommend going into the Quest tab and opening all of these little subfolders and checking out everything that you have to do to get visible on VGen. So as you can see, in order to be discoverable on VGen with your commissions, you have to add 2 services. And today we're going to start going over how to do that. So first things first, click on this little services tab underneath the commission section. Once you click on that, it'll take you to a page that looks like this. Up here at the top, you can see a bunch of little words in bubbles. These are the names of your different folders. You can click on these buttons to be able to navigate immediately to any of the folders in your services, and clients can too. That's why making a folder for all of your stuff is so important. It helps both you and clients navigate. So let's go ahead and click the folder button. Once in here, you can name your folder. I'm gonna just call this one test. And as you can see, it's made a new folder on the folder list. You can also click and drag your folders to reorganize them. This will change the order that they're shown for both you and for clients. Now, in order to add a new service, we can either click the plus service button all the way at the top, or we can click the service button inside an individual folder. If you click the button that's in a folder, it will automatically add that service to that folder. Once you hit new service, you are going to be shown this image. And I know that it's got a lot going on it, but we're going to break it down step by step. So first things first, in this top left corner, you have the folder, the name of your service, and the minimum cost of the service. Now, most of this information won't have anything here yet because we haven't updated it, but that's where it will show up. And as you can see, it says it's in the test folder because I hit the service button inside the test folder. Next up, we have this little drop-down menu. Here you can select and change what folder your service is in. You can also change the folder that your service is in by clicking and dragging the service back on the previous page. Underneath that, we have the commission status. We have open, waitlist, closed, unlisted, and draft. I recommend setting every new service you make to draft so that you don't accidentally publish it before you're ready. And I know that there is sometimes some confusion about what each of these mean, so let's go over it. Open services are visible on your profile and anyone can request them. Closed services are visible on the profile, but nobody can request them. Waitlisted are visible on profile, anyone can request them, and it's largely just organizational. This just lets clients know that you won't actually be starting it sometime soon. They're just asking to be on your wait list. It doesn't do anything beyond organization. There is draft, which means that it's not visible and nobody can request it. And then there's unlisted. Unlisted means that it's not visible on your profile. However, the service is open and it can have a request submitted if somebody has the direct link to the service. Underneath the status, we have slots, start time, and end time. Slots are a really helpful feature. You don't have to use them if you don't want to. But what it does is it allows you to have your service auto closed or waitlisted after a certain number of things happen. So we can type the number up here, and then we can click on how many what happens before it changes the status. So we can say after 3 submitted requests, 3 sent proposals, or 3 paid for commissions, it will then change the service status. And then at the bottom, you can change what you want the service status changed to after these slots are filled. And then we have the open and closing. So this just allows you to preset when you want your services to open and close if you don't feel like doing them manually. You can fill in the date and time and then choose what status you want it set to. You can also click the publicly display option. If you have it unchecked, then nobody will see it. If you have it checked, it will show up on your profile. And then it's the same thing with close. You can set services to auto close or waitlist, unlist, or draft, and you can choose whether or not it's publicly displayed. Underneath the slots and opening and closing, there is notify followers on status change. This is auto turned on. To start with, I recommend leaving it on. All this does is it sends a notification to your followers if the service goes to open or waitlist. They are able to turn off these notifications if they don't want to, so I recommend leaving them on. Next up, we have mark as sensitive content. Please do not skip this even if you think it doesn't apply to you. You will likely be surprised about what has to be flagged. It is not just NSFW content. So if you click on this mark as sensitive, this little box will pop up that has suggestive, sexual/nudity, violent/gore, and other. So first things first, NSFW includes lingerie, sexual themes, revealing clothing, and suggestive poses. So not just full NSFW, suggestive poses also have to be flagged. All right. And then we have some more elaboration over here. So I want to highlight booba and butt depictions, emotes, mouse pads, etc. That has to be flagged. Manual censoring, black bars or cropping, that has to be flagged. Visible underwear, plainly visible or lines through clothing, has to be flagged. Okay? Additionally, and this is something that I see often, having flashing lights, eye strain inducing visuals, or loud media, or anything disturbing or phobia related has to be flagged. So that would be under sensitive content, other. Once you have marked all of your sensitive content as necessary, we can go over to this choose a search category button. In here, you're going to choose the category that your work falls under. You can either click the drop downs or you can type in the search to find something that fits closest. Please make sure that you are doing the appropriate search category, as improper categorization is reportable on VGen. Inside each category is going to have a bunch of sub-options for you to check off that include the details of your work. Please make sure that you include all of the things. In here, if you leave a category blank, it won't let you submit it. Then underneath setup, we have service type. The two options are customized and personalized. Custom means 100% from scratch, and every comm is unique. YCH means your character here, which means you are using an existing template. For example, if you have a pre-made sketch, a base, or you say, I will create you as this meme. And thank you so much, Skillaxo. You have a lovely service sample here that is well done and shows both the base and the finished product. So everybody go check out Scalaxo, and we have a lovely example here of what a YCH might be. Underneath the service type, we have communication style. The options are open communication and surprise me. Open communication means that there are work in progresses shared, revisions, updates, and you receive client approval on the work. Surprise me means there are no work in progress shared, no revisions, no updates, may or may not have final approval, that's up to you, and mistake fixes only. So for example, if the character has blue hair, but you accidentally gave them, I don't know, pink hair, that would be a mistake and that would be something that the client could request you to fix. Now, last we have requesting process, custom proposal, and instant order. I would like to say I highly recommend doing custom order if you're still learning how to use VGen. With custom orders, you can accept or reject whatever client requests your work. You can manually adjust the price for each individual commission. You can take payment upfront or in milestones. You can waitlist the requests and you can set a custom deadline per proposal. With instant proposals, all requests are auto-accepted. The price is preset, so if you want options for add-ons more than just the base price, you have to use the included form and you have to properly set up all of your add-ons. Only upfront payment. You cannot do milestones for instant proposal. No waitlist. You can click set to waitlist on instant proposals. However, as soon as something's paid for, it gets taken off of waitlist. So if you set it as instant proposal, the second they submit the form, it won't actually go to waitlist. And then lastly, the deadline is preset. So when you set up everything in the proposal, like preset it, which we'll be going over next, you can say about how long it will take you. Once you've picked the one that you want to do there, you can go ahead and click this next button, and that will take you to the Details tab. Now, there are several other tabs up here, but we will not be going over those today. Those will be in a future video. Right at the top here, we have the service name. Make sure you name it something catchy, like test service, as the words that you put in the service name are searchable. Underneath that is the requesting process. This is going to be set however you did it in the previous page. However, it's here so that you can easily change between custom proposal and instant order if that's something that you want to do. Underneath, we have our price and our currency. Now, this currency is not what your clients are going to see. They're going to see the base price in whatever currency they have selected. So make sure that you have the currency set to whatever currency you want to receive the funds in. And for the cost for the base price, make sure that this is the lowest price that you would charge for this service. I see a lot of people putting something lower than what their actual minimum price is here. Underneath that, we have add-ons. Nothing is going to be here, and you can't add any add-ons here. This is just for a quick overview of the add-ons that you can add in the request form. Underneath the add-ons, we have our proposal template. This is essentially just a template to make things easier for you when you are sending out the individual proposals to your clients. In the scope, you can type really any sort of message that you want, and I'm going to go over the things that I tend to think are important for you to send to the client here. First of all, what is the commission? Did they just request this? Absolutely, but I wholeheartedly think that reiterating all the information that they just agreed to from your description and your form is really important. It makes sure that everyone is 100% on the same page. What's the comm type? Is it a YCH? Is it custom? Is it surprised me? Cost breakdown. For example, the base price, the individual cost of each add-on, and the total with all of those put together. Information about your workflow. So for example, about how long until you might start working on this. What does your workflow look like? Are you going to start it and get it done real quick? Are you somebody who might bounce around between commissions a bunch? How often do you tend to update clients? Things like that. Important notes. You might want to include something like your work hours, if you have any breaks or vacations coming up, or anything that you do different than is typical for commissions. You can also say thank you for commissioning you and have personal little notes like can't wait to draw that cute shirt, love your mascot, etc. Underneath that, you have this upload file or add link button. You can use this to include any important attachments that you might want to send to them. For example, I know some people who keep their TOS on a Google file and they add it here. Underneath, we have our timeline. If you click on the estimated start button, you'll be able to see a drop down with when you estimate starting the work. Now, you will be able to change this per proposal, so for every individual commission, as long as you selected the custom proposal. So this is just telling your client about when you think you'll be working on it, and it'll be this month, next month, etc. And then underneath that, we have guaranteed delivery within. The longest amount of time that you can set in your template is 6 months, but when you go in to edit it for each client, you can set the date up to 2 years. Next, we have the service samples. These are really important as these are going to be what your clients will look at to determine whether or not they want to work with you. You can drag and drop a file directly into this little gray box, or you can click the camera icon for uploading images and GIFs, or the little red button to upload a YouTube video. Now, some important things about service samples. First of all, you want at least 5 if you're able to. As you can see from this screenshot on the left about the relevance algorithm on VGen, the number of service samples does impact the algorithm, and they specifically state 5 or more is best. You want your first service sample to be eye-catching, as this is what's going to show up when people are scrolling through VGen, so you want whatever is going to pop the most. If you have images that have words on them, the pricing, a lot of details, for example, different render amounts or crops, try and keep that in later examples or only have a very minimal amount of that information on your first sample because you want it to just be something that draws them in at a glance. Also, importantly, videos don't autoplay. So if you're doing something that has animation, use a GIF for your first sample. Even if it's just a 2-second GIF, it will be more likely to have people come in and view the second or third sample that might have your full video. And lastly, it has to be under 8 megabytes. For this, I recommend compressing. Next, we have the description. This is really important as this has all of the information that you want clients to know about your service. VGen has this basic template here, which is really great. I recommend using all of these sections, but a lot of people feel like they're still not sure exactly what to include here, even with this template, so I have elaborated on it a bit. This is my template, and if you want to, you are welcome to screenshot it and just put it into your services. Includes. Over here, we want a list of features. So this is whatever's included without add-ons, such as render amount, style, background, animated or static. For things like rigging, you might include angles included, or if there are any toggles included. Under details, we want to include file deliverables and compatibility. So for example, pixel size for the canvas, or inches in DPI if intended for print. Then you want to include the file type. Is it a PSD, a GIF, a CMO3, etc. And programmer site compatibility. For example, is it ready to go into Twitch or Discord if it's an emote? Is it rig ready? Is it ready to go into VTube Studio, etc.? For add-ons, you want to include every additional thing that you offer. For these, if you list the cost, you have to list the currency. So for example, I would have add-ons parentheses, all add-ons in USD. And the reason why is any numbers typed in here are not going to auto-update to the currency of your client like the base cost will. So you want to make sure you're not confusing them. Here you can include things like commercial fees, NDA, if there are complexity fees, render background changes, etc. And then in the important section, you can include important notes. Here, I like to leave things like reminder that this is a surprise me. And then lastly, underneath the description, we have search tags. Search tags are super important because this is going to be how people find you. So service tags, do's and don'ts. Do use all of the tag spots. You're only allowed 5, so you really want to make sure you're using all 5. Use both broad and niche tags. So for example, if you have a My Little Pony YCH, you'd want to make sure YCH, which is a broad tag, is included, as well as something like MLP or Pony Sona, because those are niche tags. You can also check out the weekly top searches from VGen. They tend to post it on their Instagram account, but I believe they also sometimes post the weekly top searches on Twitter and Blue Sky. And make sure you're also including synonyms. So if you use OC as a tag, you could also use Sona, as somebody looking for that type of art may be using one or the other term. Don't use unrelated tags. This is against VGen's terms and is a reportable offense. Don't repeat title words. It's not necessary. Don't only use broad or only use niche tags. You really want to be as searchable as possible, and if you only use one or the other, you're going to have a harder time. Don't misspell things. Make sure you're double checking because if it's misspelled, it's not going to work. And don't use the same tags for every service. Make sure that you are tailoring the tags to the specific service. And that is everything for the beginning of setting up a service. And next time we're going to do part 6, service workflows. Thank you guys, and I will see you next time.